Y'all know what it is. Jay Williams, Let's Live Life, and we're back. Who has sex with a baby? Let's relive it. When I was up Greensville, man, by far the sickest dude I ever met was a dude by the name of Stacy. Now, when I say sick, I don't mean sick along the lines of murdering people. I don't mean sick along the lines of inmate on inmate violence. I mean, his charge alone made him the sickest individual I had ever dealt with in all my years of incarceration. Now, Stacy was one of those dudes that was real quiet. He was almost like a recluse. Never talked to nobody. He had a job, working at the warehouse at the prison, and even at the warehouse where he worked at his station with other dudes, he never spoke. I never once heard the man say a word. I've been around Stacy maybe 2 years at this point when this story took place. So at this time, we have this shift of officers that are just, what's the best word to say without, they were just ghetto. You know what I mean? It's what it was. Most of the officers on that shift were low income house and they carried themselves ghetto. They were super ratchet. Huh? No offense to anybody, but you get what I'm saying. There was no white officers on the shift. It was just mostly these ghetto ass, women, man, and a couple, street dudes that were working our shift. Our sergeant at the time was a piece of shit, man. He was more interested in sleeping with females at the prison than he was doing his job, even though his wife was also an officer at the prison. So we get a new CO on the shift, and the CO is from a different county. She immediately notices Stacy because of Stacy's case, and it was all in the news years before. But Stacy's been locked up for years now. But she remembered him because of his case. Now, Stacy was in the cell with a dude that worked on electronics named Randy Chappelle. Randy was a good dude, big fat dude, ate honey buns, Snicker bars all day. If he worked on something, he wanted you to pay him in all sweets. If Randy wasn't eating sweets, he was working on electronics. If he wasn't working on electronics, he was looking for a way to smoke some crack. That's just, some backdrop on who Randy was. But Stacy was his cellmate, and he never even really talked to Randy. I asked Randy, I was like, what's up with your cellmate, man? That dude don't never talk. You know what I mean? He's like, I don't know, man. He maybe said 5 words to me, in the years we've been in the cell together. So I'm like, all right. Then we've got a dude in our pod named Dog, Barbie Dog. And anybody that's been up Greensville that was there between 2005, 2014 era, y'all know who Barbie Dog is. Y'all know who Dog is. He looks like a shorter version of Debo. You know what I mean? He's like just muscle-bound black dude. It's just muscles on top of muscles on top of muscles with a bald head. And he was an ex-booty bandit. Now you're probably thinking, how can you be an ex-booty bandit? The fuck is an ex-booty bandit? Dog was one of those dudes been locked up since the 80s and the 90s. And people called him Dog, or they called him Barbie Dog. And I worked maintenance with Dog. Knew him pretty well. We got along good. I'd heard stories about him. And I asked him one day, I said, why they call you Barbie Dog? He said, you might not like what I got to say, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. I said, all right. He said, man, back in the day, I'd get me a little white boy, and that'd be my Barbie Dog. He said, I treat them like Barbie dolls. I rub their heads and everything. He said, I'd take that ass from them. I'm looking at him like, man, what the fuck is wrong with this dude, man? He tripping. He was like, I'm just telling you, if you was soft back then, he's like, it didn't even matter if you was soft. He's like, if I wanted that ass, I would take it. He was like, but that was so many years ago. He was like, now, I don't really do that so much, man. He's like, I might make parole one day, so I had to slow down. He's like, plus you got all these punks running around here, so you ain't really got to take no ass no more, man. He's like, but yeah, they used to call me Barbie Dog. He's like, but now they just call me Dog. Hey, whatever, man. So we get this new guard on, right? All this ties together. We get this new guard on, her name's SHARRON. And SHARRON is from the same county as this dude Stacy that never talks to anybody. SHARRON recognizes Stacy. Right away she recognizes him. She knows who he is. She goes in the office, she pulls up his paperwork, and she goes into the pod and she posts it. Like they have this bulletin board where they put up, newsletters, new rules in the prison, maybe the chow hall menu, whatever for the week, and they post it. Well, in the middle of the night when nobody's looking, she goes out there. This is an officer now, and she takes this dude's arrest report, his charges, his court case, clippings, all the stuff she copied and pasted and put on paperwork, and she puts it on the bulletin board. So I wake up in the morning for chow, and I go out my cell, and everybody's at the bulletin board looking at it like, what the fuck? This dude Stacy, he's already gone to work. He's already working in the warehouse. He's not aware of what's going on. So I walk up, I make my way through the crowd, and I'm standing there looking at the paperwork and looking at all this. And we come to find out that not only did Stacy murder an infant, a child that was like less than a year old, he was also a sexual predator. In the paperwork, it stated that originally they couldn't figure out why the baby had died. They thought it was kind of like SIDS, where a baby passes away in its sleep. But then upon further investigation and on the autopsy, they found, and look, if you're squeamish, you don't like to hear bad things, this is the point where you turn the video off. Let me give you a second. All right, so upon the autopsy of the baby and them, doing everything to figure out why this little baby died, they found semen, male sperm, in his baby's throat. This guy Stacy was alone with his baby and commenced to having sex with this little tiny baby with its mouth. Collapsed its airway, baby choked to death, couldn't breathe, and died. Now, it's a no-brainer. Y'all know where this is about to go. You got men in there that love their kids, man, miss their kids, hate, sex offenders and predators like that as it is. And now this guy's paperwork has just now been blasted for everybody to see by Officer SHARRON. He comes in that evening, and there is just a gang of dudes standing there waiting on him. You know what I mean? Everybody's trying not to look like they're going to do anything. And the other guards on this shift, like I said, they were hood. They kept it hood. They knew what was going to happen to him. They wanted it to happen to him. They weren't going to call no codes. They turned the cheek the other way, weren't paying attention. You get what you get. You deserve every bit of it. So when he comes in the pod, I'm thinking right then and there, they're just going to start stabbing this dude. They're going to chop him down. They're going to butcher him right there in the middle of the pod in front of everybody. Not what happens. Dog walks up in front of everybody. Dog was respected. You know what I mean? Dog's, he's an OG. He's a lifer. He's been down a long ass time. Dude's respected dog. Not to mention he had that one hitter quitter, that pie out to break your whole goddamn jaw. And he was about that knife play. And he'd fuck you if that's what he felt like doing. So a lot of dudes, when you got somebody in that position that steps up, they're going to fall back. You know what I mean? About that life. But like I've said, everybody's a killer. Everybody's a gangster until a real killer or a real gangster shows up. Dog steps in front of everybody. He's like, nah, y'all ain't going to do shit to that man. Leave the man the fuck alone, man. He's locked up just like the rest of y'all. He's paying for his crimes just like the rest of y'all. So we're like, the fuck, man? This dude's defending this dude. He's like, I'll take care of it. So he goes to the booth and tells them, I want y'all to move Stacy to my cell and move my cellie up there with Randy Chappelle. Put Stacy in my cell. So right then and there, we know this ain't a he's gonna protect him thing, man. This is bad for this dude. He's about to get everything that he deserves. This dude, Stacy, goes to the booth and tells him, hey, look, I fear for my life. I want to go to the hole. And they have this little metal slot that they can fold up inside the booth, or they can let it down to talk to you. They close the slot in his face, tell him get out of here. Tell him go ahead and move your stuff. So they end up moving Dog's cellmate upstairs into this dude's cell and moving Stacy downstairs into Dog's cell. It isn't long, man. It's, I would say, dude hadn't even unfinished packing yet. It was maybe 30, 45 minutes. And at the time, we could still smoke in Virginia. They hadn't, taken smoking out of prison yet. And we all hear this dude screaming. When I mean screaming, he's screaming at the top of his lungs, bloody murder. It sounds like what you would expect to hear if somebody, was having their hand cut off or something. It's just this blood gurgling scream coming from the cell, which was the first real, noise I'd heard come out of this man's mouth other than him copping pleas at the booth, trying to get moved out of there and put, in the hole, taken somewhere else where he'd be safe. He's been exposed, and all these years he's been safe, flying underneath the radar, and you have this little child that's dead in this coffin, buried and gone because of this human piece of shit. So we all get curious of what's going on, and we're looking up at the booth, and the lady in the booth, she knows something's going down, but they're not going to do anything. You got to remember that these are mothers. They may be guards, but they're mothers, they're fathers, and sometimes, justice is not served just because you get sent to prison. Sometimes justice is served once you get to prison. Your charges are found out, and the right person gets their hands on you. So everybody's trying to look in the cell to see what's going on, but don't want to draw too much attention to the fact that, what's taking place in this cell. So I give it a little bit, and I walk over. Like I said, me and Dog were cool, worked together, I worked out with Dog, we was all right. And I walk up to the cell, and I knock on the door, and I'm like, yo, and he's like, what's up, man? I said, it's Jay. He was like, what's up, Jay? Look. So I look in the cell, and he's got this man hog-tied, laying on the floor on his belly with his pants pulled down. Pulled down around his ankles, and his ankles are up tied to his hands. And he's sitting there beside him in his boxers. He's got shit on him, he's got blood on him. Right on the front of his boxers, you can see the shit and blood. This dude's got blood and shit smeared all over his ass, it's all over the floor. The dog is sitting there smoking a cigarette. Right beside him, squatting down, looking at him, and this dude's hog-tied laying on his belly. Cigarette draws from it, and puts it out in the middle of his back. Reaches up on the counter, grabs his cigarettes, lights another one, and just sits there squatting, looking at him. He'd take a punch him in the back of his head, slam his face into the floor a couple more times. There was already smudge marks and blood on the side of the wall, blood on the counter, blood on the side of the toilet, and this dude is just laying there. Dogs are hog-tied him and busted his cheeks wide open and is putting cigarettes out on him. We think this is going to end soon, As soon as this dude gets up, he's going to go tell the people what's going on, blah, 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 and that's going to be the end of it. It's not. I walk off, man. It wasn't even something I wanted to see. I thought I was going there and he's going to have this dude all beat up or maybe a stabbed him or something. I didn't expect to see another man hog-tied laying on the ground that had just, been ran up in by Dog. They lock us down, and throughout the night you hear it. You hear this dude screaming, yelling, screaming, yelling. You can hear Dog over there beating on him. You can hear Dog over there fucking him. It's just him grunting, and then every now and then you just hear him punching him. Maybe punching him in his body, back of his head, his face. So the next day he rolls around, Dog comes out like nothing happened. He'd have told this dude, you're going to stay in this motherfucking cell, and you better not come up out of here. If you tell the people on me, I'll get you touched, I'll get your motherfucking ass killed. I swear to God, you will die, you come up out this cell. Stacy didn't go to work at the warehouse. Stacy puts in a slip saying he no longer wants his job. This takes place for months. When I mean months, better part of probably a month and a half. Every day, Dog comes in that cell, and Dog just rapes this man, beats the shit out of him, hog-ties him, does whatever he wants to this man. And I'm not gonna say, I'm not so cool with the booty bandit part of it, because I don't get down like that. But I'm not gonna say that I felt any remorse for him. Nothing that was done to him was enough, considering what he had done to this baby. So we fast forward a month and a half, and word's done got outside of what's going on. And somehow or another, everything that's going on is done made its way up the chain. Somebody more important has found out about it. The PREA people have found out about it. Somebody's told. This is the Prison Rape Elimination Act, for y'all that don't know. That's what PREA is. They come in, they get Stacy out the cell, Dog's on the yard working out. They go out there, they lock Dog up. The Dog's done told this man, he's let him know, if you tell on me, if anything happens, if they lock me up, you're a dead man. Once you hit any compound, your paperwork's already out there. You better take what I'm giving you, because the next man's probably just gonna cut your fucking head off and leave you dead. So you'd rather deal with this than deal with that. You know what I mean? You can be my bitch or you can be dead. But somebody else has done sent off some, a kite somewhere to the PREA people telling them, administration higher up, what's going on. So like I said, they come in, they get Stacy out the cell immediately. They start investigating. They lock dog up off the yard. It's maybe 2 weeks later. Dog comes back in the pod. He's got his bags. He's back from the hole. Dude, Stacy wouldn't tell on him. You know, I guess he tortured him so bad and scared him so much that Stacy just stayed quiet. Even though they knew 100% what had been taking place, Stacy wouldn't say anything out of fear for his life. We fast forward, I think it was maybe 3 or 4 days later, and they lock us all down. The whole penitentiary. Or 3,000 guys, they come in and lock us down, and they say they got an isolated incident in the hole that's under investigation, and the people from the outside, you know, state police and whatnot, have to come investigate because there's been a death. Stacy hung himself from the fire sprinkler in his cell, in the hole, in 10 building. And that was the end of Stacy. I never really fucked with Dog anymore after that. I just found out, it wasn't long before the stuff started with Stacy, that, you know, Dog used to be a booty bandit before, so I'd already started falling back from Dog. Dog is still locked up today, but Stacy is in the ground where he belongs. Now, what I want y'all to get out of this, like I said, I always try to give y'all something good from the bad. We don't always feel justice is served. You might have a family member get killed and the guy might only get 5 or 6 years, but God's got a plan. And sometimes justice is served when you don't know about it, and it's served in a much worse way than what you could ever expect. Don't always look at a situation and think bad of it and not know what's really going on. Stacy got what he deserves. Stacy deserves to be dead. And that booty bandit shit turns my stomach. There's nothing nice about it. You're a sick motherfucker if you do something like that. In Stacy's case, justice was finally served. And I hope that baby made its way to heaven, where he deserves to be. And I hope Stacy rots in hell. Y'all know what this is, man. Sad, crazy story. This is Jay Williams. Let's live life. To all my real ones, and there are some real ones watching, because y'all watching me. Y'all know how we do around this bitch, man. Salute.